Wonderful friends. Good morning to everyone, and welcome to the Spiritual Side of Virginia. As always, it's so good to be with you here today. We always start with a message that prepares us to the topic, to the passage that we receive today. So it's a moment for us to bring our attention to this very special moment. And today, the message that we are going to read together is titled Topics on Irritation, that is connected to the topic of what we are going to discuss today. The message comes from the book Calm by Emmanuel through the loving hands of the medium Chico Xavier. It's a very short message, but very profound. It tells us, if irritation has already become a habit for you, reflect on its advantages so that you may free yourself from such a spiritual imbalance. And then he continues saying, the habit of becoming enraged is a predisposing factor to ailments that are difficult to treat. Even if your heart feels wounded, speak with calm and explain with patience. And he finalizes, friends, telling us, a gesture of kindness works wonders.
The good spirits, they know what we need on earth, huh? Right? So let us be grateful to them, like Emmanuel bringing this to us. And pray. Shall we pray, friends? Prayer is communication with God. So let us feel this sustenance of God in our lives at each breath. Breathing in, we know God is sustaining us. Breathing out, we're letting go of anything that no longer pertains to us. Thank you, God, for the power of renewal, of new days, new beginnings, new reincarnations. We want to learn with you to give people second chances always, to give ourselves second chances, to allow ourselves to feel your embrace of loving care. We visualize our family, our loved ones, in two realms, receiving this shower of healing light, permeating minds and bodies. And we acknowledge the presence of your messengers, the spirit doctors, nurses, and therapists here present. And we see your loving embrace, strengthening us, calming our minds, soothing our emotions in the certainty that all is well. And everything that happens to us comes truly for the highest purpose possible. May this therapeutic educational session be joyful, as we express our gratitude to you for days like this, days of community, days of togetherness, days of loving care. May we stay under your guidance, feeling your protection as you grant us the permission to be here. And so be it. Yay. You know, the good spirit, there is a book named Calm by Emmanuel Toshiko Xavier. He wrote it way before this current time, okay? So, because the good spirits know, they know that on earth we're going to lead a lot of calm for a long time until we stay calm. And then when the book is inside our hearts, we're good. Today we're going to learn about cultivating inner peace here, love inside, and a lot of spiritist things. We hope you enjoy. And at the end today, I know some parents, not only one, but some parents sometimes they have commitments afterwards. We understand. And we see your kindness when any one of you come to us and say, I have to leave at this time, and you don't want to be rude, right? To rush out of the door in the middle of the passes. So we appreciate you telling us about your commitments. But let me just explain something. When we finish, only the good spirits will tell us, you know, if the passes is going to be magnetic and spiritual, only spiritual. I don't know. But what we know is this. If you come and you need to leave, let's practice invisibility. I keep telling this to Carol all the time, because for her it's almost impossible to be invisible, right? So I say, Carol, in this life you have to practice being visible. How is she going to do this? Impossible. But it is possible. So it's on us, okay? If you feel you're caught up in time and we're almost done and you need to leave, you told us, we understand, and people now, everybody knows what's happening, okay? But let's not abuse the exceptions, because this is only an exception. Cannot be the rule. Agreed? Ready? Who is ready to go inside? Me too. So we'll join Mr. Felipe, Miss Carol. Please go inside, dear friends. I'll be there with you. And Miss Daisy is going to be here with us. Oh. This is the trick. Where's the music? Yeah. I had to mute here. That's why. But we can't mute it. So now you.
Também, obrigada, Vanessa. Seguinte, eu vou ficar com o telefone. Bora, pode deixar.
Dear friends, good morning. Today the mentors asked us to talk about this inner peace. We are living at times where we want so much the world outside to be at peace, right? Countries, communities, families, but we know that everything starts with us and everything starts within us. The world will only change when we change. But Daisy, that will take forever. Well, the ocean, we need tiny drops, right, to maintain the ocean. Yes, we are marching towards a plan of the regeneration, so we will get there, and we need to do our part. But the work of the good spirits is exponentially, right? They need with a little bit, right? Jesus said, with the size of a mustard seed of our faith, we can conquer all. So we need the importance of practicing this inner peace. So that's why to achieve inner peace, we have to go to the core. So the question for us is, how many moments of irritation we carry out in 24 hours? Have we ever done the math? Hide. Can we leave? No. We're in it together, right? The good news is that someone named Bellarmino Bigas, we know, right? Humberto de Campos, he's so funny, the names he gives in this message. But Bellarmino calculated it out for us in his case, his life, and he shared with us. Thanks to him, we can get a glimpse. So in the spiritual realm, he encounters Humberto de Campos, the great writer. He says, Humberto, please tell my story to everyone so that people can learn from my experience. And today we're going to learn directly from Bellarmino. So we'll go to a short video to hear his case, and then we're going to talk through it together. Okay? Let's go straight there. I have to just work here with the system so that our friends over the internet can see it. Sorry, forgot one step. See, we're already practicing patience together, which is good. Ask Tony kindly to get the mics for us. Thank you, Tony.
Radio presents Statistics of Irritation, an adaptation of the message titled Bellarmino Bicas by Humberto de Campos through Chico Xavier from the book Letters and Chronicles, Chapter 16. After a work of charity in the spiritual world, Bellarmino Bicas, a dear companion, called me aside. His words were serious, but full of sincerity. Since today we worked in solidarity, I want to ask you for a favor. You can still write to our brothers and sisters on Earth, and I need you to tell them my story. I asked him, what story? I discarnated at 58 years old, but I should have lived until 80. I discovered Spiritism at 38. I learned much from Kardec's teachings, but I always had a bad temper. To try to correct myself, I started keeping a record of my moments of anger. Still, my impatience and irritations were so many that they cost me 22 years of life. I returned to the spiritual world early, as an indirect suicide. Here I finally understood how many treasures I lost because of nonsense, how much foolishness in the name of pride and feeling. Tell my story, warn people about bitterness, speak of the danger of anger, insist on the need for patience, calm, and forgiveness. Tell them, bad temper also kills. And then, Bellarmino showed me his notebook, where he counted his irritations between 1936 and 1956. Listen carefully to his numbers. 1,811 quarrels within the family. 906 arguments at home over food and hygiene. 1,614 fights with his wife about disagreements in domestic and social conduct. 1,801 disappointments with his children, sons-in-law, and daughters-in-law. 11 moments of dissatisfaction with his grandchildren. 1,015 conflicts with supervisors at work. 1,333 disagreements with colleagues. 1,012 complaints to shopkeepers and suppliers over small things. 614 misunderstandings with neighbors. 315 resentments with close friends. 1,089 hurt feelings with employees and workers from institutions. 615 annoyances with barbers and tailors. 777 disagreements with drivers and passengers in buses, cars, and trams. 419 quarrels with milkmen and bakers. 820 arguments with waiters in restaurants and cafes. 211 offenses taken with telephone services. 901 disputes in entertainment places. 815 arguments about religious opinions. 217 misunderstandings with companions at the Spiritist Center. 901 worries about imaginary problems or anticipation of unpleasant events that never even happened. Together, 16,386 moments of useless irritation in just 7,300 days of life, wasted during the most beautiful decades of his life on earth. Years that could have been lived in peace, guided by the gospel. This is Bellarmino's lesson. Irritation steals our time. Bitterness wastes our life. But forgiveness and serenity bring health, peace, and light. Do not waste your time on annoyances. Choose patience. Choose forgiveness. Choose peace. I now fulfill his wish by sharing his story. May his example help us all to live better, calmer, and with more love.
Amém. Hey, dear friends, were you surprised? Were we surprised with his story? So interesting, right? And thanks to Humberto de Campos, he makes it so tangible for us. Because he even talks about the baker and the drivers and the waitresses, right? So let us recap together, because this is so interesting. We think it's just an irritation, it's just a moment of anguish, and we go home and we keep that in our minds. But let us recap together. The majority of his irritation, not surprising, happens at home, at family, and the domestic life. He even said disagreements related to food and hygiene. Oh my goodness. How many times we have the conversation at home? What are we gonna eat? I don't know. You cook. I don't know. And then the moments of friction that Bellarmino said wasted his life. With the partners, with the children. It seems so small, but you see, in the timeline of our life, it's not small. It really matters. Workplace conflicts. When we have a disagreement with the boss, we might not say it. That's the interesting thing. We usually might not say it out loud. But we are there working and thinking, oh, I can't believe I did a whole project and then I have to start again because of X, Y, and Z. She doesn't know how much time? And then we stay in this mental battle with the boss, with the colleagues at work. So that counts too. We think anger and irritations is this outburst of anger. And true, we saw recently in the news in Brazil, a man that punched his girlfriend lost how many times, right? Yes, there are people that take it, steal, and put it out loud. Majority of us, it's in the words we speak. It's in our feelings. It's in our thoughts. So how are they? He says consumers and service interactions. Oh my gosh, when you call and you have to cancel the subscription and they keep transferring the call and at the end you're like, oh my gosh, right, Claire, yes. You know, you're gonna do better because you're learning from early age, right? But it's true, right? Do we stop to think how many times they have to hear the irritations of others? Their job evolves around it. So now when we call, we feel a little more compassion and we say, we know it's not your fault, it's the system that doesn't cooperate, but it's not that person's fault. They are just doing their work. So do we think about that? Do we put ourselves in the shoes of others? So interesting. He talks about daily interactions with the neighbors, with the friends. And he says, even at social events, oh my gosh, family reunions then, how many would be just in that one day, right? It's so true. Or sometimes that trip that we have planned with the family for a whole year, we save up and we finally go and the whole trip is a completely disaster because of quarrel, because of irritation. And then we get back home and we're like, I can't believe I thought I will go and rest and enjoy. And we come home worse than it was. Because instead of harmonizing with the family, we were there in the power struggle. With drivers, oh my goodness. Yes, that for those of us who drive, it's a test of our patience for sure. And then he brought this up so interesting. Imaginary or unrealized events. How many times we suffer on anticipation and anxiety for something that has not even happened yet. And we play so many scenarios in our minds. Especially when we have, relationships with family members, colleagues, we're already anticipating what the other person is going to say. So we have dialogues in our minds because we're like, okay, I'm going to say this, they're going to say that, and I'm going to say this. And then we truly have completely dialogues with people in our minds. And we're there, as Bellarmino says, wasting our time. And that's why sometimes it's so hard because we go to talk to someone but they can already feel our vibration. So before we even say anything out loud, there's already that tension. Because even before we physically spoke with them, we were already in that mental battle with them before we talked with them physically. So that's why relationships are so hard in our lives. So Bellarmino said surprisingly to us, like André Luiz in the book No Solar, that he was considered an indirect suicide. What does that mean? He was born and he was supposed to live until he was 80 years old. But he discarnated at 58. So he lost 22 years of his life. Oh my gosh. 22 years cut short. Remember, the log he kept were only for the 20 years because he was a spiritist. And that's why he already knew. And he was working on improving himself. So the numbers that he shared with us are only for those last 20 years of his life. And what were the emotional imbalances? He mentions irritation. Oh, like we know people know how to push our buttons. Outbursts of anger, but also bitterness. We might not say anything out loud, but we go home, we replay the situation, and we feel hurt. We feel resentment. Why is this important? Because we might get to the spiritual realm and we might say to our mentors, oh, but you don't know my life. That person, and then we always have the excuse, right? That person, X, Y, and Z. That situation, X, Y, and Z. But there's no way to run around for it because he told us that bad temper also kills. So yes, we need to take care of the physical body, we need to eat well, we need to exercise, but our emotions directly affect our health. Let us first talk through the physical science, because it's already proven to us, even before we get to the spiritual one, that anger leads to health risks. We increase our blood flow, there's increased risk of heart attacks or stroke. It impairs our blood vessels when we have those outbursts of anger. And it raises our cortisol and adrenaline, so we're always on the edge, right? You know, when we're always, and we encounter people and they're always on the edge and we're like, oh my gosh. And then we are like, okay, today is not a good day for me to have that conversation with that person because they're not in a good day. I will wait. Because we already know, right? Another drop in the bucket and boom. So that chronic stress harms our immunity. So that's already proven to us, scientifically speaking. And then we have the mental health effects. When we are there ruminating, you know, when we go home and we're ruminating, that bitterness causes anxiety, causes us depression. And then we cannot fall asleep. So then what we do? We run to traditional medicine, right? Pills to sleep, pills for anxiety, for depression. That's great. Thanks to science, we have access to those. But if we wanted to truly heal ourselves, we need to go to the root problem of it all. And the root problem is where? It's in our emotions. So if we really want to treat it, we need to understand the spiritual consequences of our bad temper. Because it affects our physical bodies, but it all starts in our spiritual bodies. So thanks to the spiritist literature, we know that negative emotions is like a spiritual poison. So a good way for us to think about it, every time we get irritated, angry, we're upset about something, we think it's like we're getting a glass of poison and we are drinking that poison. We know, right? It's tough. It's tough because it's so tangible to our lives. But it's good for us to know the first step we need to know so then we can address it. Now we know when the first irritation comes, we think, oh no, I better address it so that it doesn't affect my health and my perispirit. So that anger, why was Bellarmino considered indirect suicide? It drains our vitality. It drains it out because instead of focusing on what we have to do, we are using that energy and that time to those negative emotions. And sometimes we stay years, decades. It's not only that burst of anger when someone cuts on us in traffic. Is that resentment. You know, when we talk to someone and then we're having a conversation about something completely different, but then they bring something that happens many years ago. And you're like, oh, I didn't even remember that happened. But for that person is there. And that's what we do too, because we say, oh, but you remember that day you said X, Y, and Z. And then the person looks at us and they're like, did I say that? I don't even remember. See? And friends, remember, how much are we influenced by the spirits? Kardec asked this question in the Spirit's book. And the Spirit said, more than we imagine. So our obsessors, because we all have them, use other people in our lives to truly push our buttons. Because that's what they want. They want us to fail. They want us to create this harmony. And then what happens? We enter in that frequency, we lower our vibration, and then is an open door for obsession to come in. Do you see how they strategize? They don't have anything else to do in their lives. To think about plots on how to hurt us. So we need to pay attention. People come and they're not doing well. We stop and think, today you're not going to get me out of my tranquility and serenity. I'm going to raise above. So what can we do? Are there some tools that we can use in our lives? Yes, thank God. We're not all doomed. There are tools, and that's why Bellarmino brought us this message. What are they? Okay, let us start with the physical body first before we talk about the spiritual and emotion. Breathing is already proven to us by science, right? Michelle, as a doctor, can tell us much more. As we breathe in, hold 3 seconds, breathe out 4, 5, 6, 7. Only by practicing that we already feel calmer. We breathe in through the abdomen, breathe out through the mouth. Those breathing exercises and meditations can truly help us. So something happens, we go there, we find a quiet place, we put a soothing music, we do our breathing exercises, and then we don't let what? Our primitive self, because those outbursts of irritation and anger is our primitive selves. From when we were in many lives ago, now we are in the human body. So what we have to do, we have to use our prefrontal cortex, our reasoning. And that's why we need self-reflection, like Bellarmino say, hold on, why am I feeling this way? Because sometimes we're feeling on the edge and irritated and we don't even know. And we say, oh, I'm tired, I'm hungry. Is it really tiredness? and hungry, or are we truly going to the root? So we reflect. At the end of the day, we analyze. And then by doing that, we can practice this tolerance. We look at the situation and we say, that waitress, she or he has been on their feet the whole day, serving people, asking for all kinds of things. We don't know their problems at home. Their person that answers the phone when we call. We don't know what's happening in their lives. So if we put ourselves in other people's shoes, great. But when we say this is so hard to forgive those that hurt us. But remember, we're no victims, right? We'll only go through what we have to go through. Jesus was perfect, and he was crucified to show to us that we will succeed when we truly know how to love our enemies. That is the main goal of our lives. So then we ask for prayer. We pray, we connect to the higher spirits. We say, God, that point in my life, I don't know how to fix it, but help me. And you can ask to be taken to the spiritual hospitals when we're sleeping. Talk to the therapists, to the doctors. We can go through treatments in the spiritual realm. And then when we come back, we start to see things will start changing our lives. But should we stay there and do nothing? No, we need to help others do these exercises. We are always thinking about others. We'll never fail. And instructing ourselves as we learn the new, we make better choices. So friends, Jesus said, blessed are the meek and the peacemaker. If we conquer that in this life, we ace it. So next time irritation comes, anger, let us think about Bellarmino, and thanks to him for sharing this story with us, so that we can not go through what he did, get to the spiritual realm and realize we truly wasted years of our lives in things that were so ephemeral, right? Because we're talking about things, if we rewind the tape, right? So small, but can cost our lives. So let us reflect on this as we start to prepare for the passes, okay?
Hey, friends. They're having a party there, learning about love and how to make your spiritual body prettier. They are so intelligent. Things go so fast, right? So let us now prepare for the passes. Today, exceptionally, we're going to do the spiritual passes. But remember what we said last week. The good spirits are the ones delivering, and we are all giving to each other. In that mix, we all receive. All right? So let us feel, breathing in and out, our unbreakable connection with God. Breathing in and absorbing the healing molecules provided by God. Breathing out slowly, letting go of toxins of the mind and the bodies. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Visualizing Master Jesus here with us, the governor of our planet, with his meekness, with his peace. He touches our hearts with his hand, his illuminated hand, transfusing love. Let us feel this healing touch permeating all of our circulatory system with healing molecules, pure light of love, traveling throughout our bodies, spiritual and physical bodies. As we breathe in and out, we accept with gratitude this transfusion of love. And with Jesus' beautiful, accepting smile, because he accepts us unconditionally. He looks at us with so much kindness, emanating thoughts of encouragement and of calm. We visualize our homes, and we open the door of our homes to Master Jesus and his loving team. He enters our homes. Don't be ashamed. He knows us. He helps us cleanse the spiritual environment, the thought forms that we've created out of invigilance. And he puts a vase of healing flowers on our dining table. Flowers of light, flowers of healing, emanating towards all rooms of our house, going even beyond touching the neighbors' homes and traveling throughout the neighborhood, bringing new hope to everyone. And through the streets of the state of Virginia, we see this light traveling to Washington, D.C., our dear capital, and especially to the White House, enveloping the White House in so much love, in healing, in the proposal of brotherhood on earth. fraternity, solidarity. And from our nation, the United States of America, bridges of friendship towards the world, connecting every nation, bringing unity and charity amongst nations. As we are being invited to being a part of this building of new earth, a new earth, dear Jesus. We know it's not a dream, but this is actually happening little by little as we speak. We trust the power of the good and only the good, and evil only as its absence, temporary absence. Thank you for inviting us to join forces with you. Thank you for inviting us to our deep inner renewal. Thank you for bringing us together today around your good news. The good news about our progress. The good news about our immortal life. We rejoice in your blessings as today we accept the task to pacify our minds and our hearts, feeling your loving care. We pray for everyone who has their names in the book of prayer, visualizing healing baskets delivered to each one with remedies, with new encouragement, hope for the mind and the bodies. With your permission, we conclude this session trusting that the water we're going to drink shall be filled with spiritual vitamins so we can renew ourselves in your presence today and every day. And so be it. Let's wait. The lights are going to be down until we receive the water.
So, dear friends, as we finish receiving the water before we go outside, because we know we're excited for the bake sale, just some reminders, okay? We are having a new campaign. As we mentioned last week, it's ongoing. We'll be collecting clothes, shoes, jackets, coats, hats, gloves. It can be new if you want to buy new, can be used if it's gently used. So we bring it, we wash, we bring it in an organized way, like as we would like to receive it. So feel free to drop it off here. We're collecting, it can be for children, for babies, for adults, for teens, all ages, okay? For those that want to join us in DC, I believe there's still some spots left for September 27. We'll be there in the park. So check out our sign up sheet in the back, and we also have already the October dates there too. Okay. Friends, if you have any questions or sometimes we come and we hear something and it touches us, don't go home. Talk to one of us. We have the fraternal counseling here. You can talk with us. Sometimes that one conversation can truly help us remanage our thoughts, feelings. So just let us know. We can talk to you in a separate place, okay? We're no rush to leave. And then today, we have our bake sale. We'll be outside. It's so beautiful, right? Our team of volunteers have made delicious, savory, and sweet items. Everything is homemade, okay? Remember, why are we doing the bake sale? We know that the food is an excuse, it's an opportunity for us to join in, help the center, thanks to this physical space, but also SSVA, as we know, supports so many different avenues, right? Kardec Radio, the Spiritist Magazine, Kardec Flix, the Spirit Support for Parents, all the online platforms, right, that we share spiritism around the world. So everything that we need, but also our charitable work that we do as well. So enjoy. If you have any questions, okay, we'll be here. Talk to us. Just give us a few minutes as we can slowly start bringing things outside, okay?
Let me go. Why not? I know. You did that? Just come on. Oh,
Sweets that I have tasted for a million times.
okay, do you have butter?
Check it out.
Cheers.
You wanna put that in your bag?
Yes, I do. I'm gonna get it.
Fine,
Wanna
let's
put
go
that
get
in
the
your
big
wine and
Oh,
then-
no, I mean like for drinking.
No, it's for eating.
Oh, for eating. Okay.
It's kind of like a candy. It's kind of like a candy. But it's sweet and it's so sweet you have never tasted before. And guess what? Today we don't have apples. Bye. Bye. You leaving already? Oh, we're just getting the frigatero, right?
Yes, we got the. Come on.
Let's go get the frigatero. Let's go get a frigatero.
Yeah.
You think don't pick up this better? Don't do it. Can you ask?
Next to you.
Come.
Oh, vai né?
Júnior,
Para as coisas.
let's go buy some things.
Aí eu vou ficar cada vida. Bora? Vamos ajudar. Vamos ajudar a casinha de Jesus. Eu já vou pegar ela. Não faço já? Outras pessoas têm que pegar. O Daniel só tem banheiro.
Você quer pôr lá fora o seu pôr lá fora.
Quer deixar ela dentro? Vai levar isso? Esse fiz.
Yeah, no. Serious?
I'm Jesus.